Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This time I decided to go back in time with Anita Sharkgirl because she doesn't upload new videos like every month. She uploads a video every month or so, which is very disappointing. I was really hoping I like constant videos from her, but since I have to wait now, we can go through some of her old videos and discuss about them. Some of them that I think is kind of dumb. So let's get started. This obviously has no comments and all that shit because why would she?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
This episode comes with a content warning for game footage involving hypersexualized female characters and is not recommended for children. As always, remember that it's both possible and even necessary to be critical of the media.
Hold on, I'm gonna hear that again.
Footage involving hypersexualized female characters and is not recommended for children.
Okay, that's for something she said woman. Yeah, because I want to show my children this abomination.
As always, remember that it's both possible and even necessary to be critical of the media we enjoy. That's going to be especially important to keep in mind given the video game franchise we're about to discuss. In 1987, Nintendo released a 2D action-adventure game for their Nintendo Entertainment System, which departed from traditional video game conventions. Metroid starred a bounty hunter named Samus Aran, who's covered head to toe in the now iconic cybernetic power suit. The game's manual referred to the protagonist with male pronouns and described his identity as shrouded in mystery.
But that could also be translation errors. It happens, but well, whatever.
Metroid was notable as an early example of a game that employed multiple alternative endings, which could be unlocked based on the player's gaming skill and performance. If the player is able to complete the game in under 5 hours, a short cutscene will play featuring the protagonist without their armored helmet, revealing that Samus Aran is in fact a woman. This was a significant moment in gaming history, especially for many female gaming fans, because at the time, nearly all protagonists were just assumed to be male by default. Remember, this was back before the internet, when you couldn't just hop online to find out about all the secrets and spoilers, so for many players, the ending of Metroid came as a genuine surprise. Still, the subversion only worked provided players were
Oh yeah, it's a surprise. Not like that, it's something that you get at the end and you weren't thinking about, you weren't anticipating it, so obviously that's what a surprise is, but that I don't think she was saying that as a negative or something, but whatever.
Skilled enough to achieve the surprise ending. In retrospect, Samus's gender reveal perhaps should not have been as shocking as it was, considering that Metroid is.
It shouldn't have been shocking. It shouldn't have been shocking? Okay, yeah, because obviously when you play a game and you're like, oh shit, like I thought this was a dude and I played as a woman the whole time. Oh shit, that's fucking awesome. Whatever. Like, it's a fucking, surprise. Of course it's gonna take people by surprise. Why do you think people want to see what's under Master Chief's mask? Or helmet? Because people want to know. And if Master Chief, removed his helmet and it showed anything, it would be surprising. Everyone would be shocked. Oh, and seeing use Alien. Well, Alien, was a big source of inspiration. And the main character in that movie? A woman. So, obviously you should expect that everything that's in sci-fi that takes any inspiration from Alien, it's gonna be a woman. Obviously, that should just be, same level, because no way someone would think that they could just be inspired by Alien, take some stuff from that movie, and then just not have the same sex main character. There'd be a different gender or whatever. Obviously, that never goes through, so, in Conker's Bad Fur Day, when they made an homage to Alien, Conker was a woman. Okay? Surprise! Surprise!
Heavily influenced by the Alien films. Sadly, the alternate endings did not stop there. The two best endings make Metroid one of the first games to exploit the women as reward trope, as both reveal Samus in various states of undress. The better a player does, the more clothing is removed. If the player completes the game in under 3 hours, Samus is shown without her armor and in a leotard. If the player finishes in under 1 hour, they're treated to Samus in a bikini.
Whoa.
So yes, Samus wasn't a damseled woman waiting at the end of the game as a trophy. Rather, her body itself became the prize awarded to players for—
The body became the prize, but when you play video games, like, the whole point is to make you feel like you're the main character. So when that ending was supposed to be, it's just kind of like, you know, oh man, my character took off her clothes for me, just for me. It's just, it's a fucking Easter egg. Who fucking cares? It's such a minimal thing. Like, how many people, when you talk about Metroid, talked about this? They might have said, oh, dude, when you get, like, an ending, depending on how good you play, you get, like, a different, like, you see something different about the main character or something. They might say something like that, but, you know, that's not the ringing endorsement that game gets. People don't like Metroid because of this. And that's where the issue should be, really. Not that the game has this, it's more that if that's all that people talk about, then I could see that being a problem. But no one talks about it. No one. I didn't even know about this, to be honest. I might have known about her removing her helmet, but I didn't know about the leotard and the bikini.
For a job well done. Later games in the Metroid series continued the convention of rewarding players with endings featuring Samus in various states of undress.
But no way would it be implied that maybe, when Samus is taking off her clothes, it's like, oh man, it's such a hard, like, thing, I'm very sweaty, I just need to, like, cool off, and that's why she takes off her clothes. Obviously, that's not what people are thinking. It's obviously to reward the player for the visuals, but, you know, it's all one-sided. It's not, you know, it's just an Easter egg. Let's overthink the Easter egg, guys. Let's just overthink it.
In one sense, Samus Aran definitely did subvert traditional gender tropes of the 1980s by taking on the role of intrepid hero. However, she and her body were still presented to players as prizes to be won.
Yes, because when you play Metroid, you weren't enticed by just being in the game because you like the game or to keep playing. You're like, I gotta see Samus in a bikini, guys. I need to. It's like life or death right now.
The convention of earning access to cutscenes or ending vignettes with eroticized female bodies can be found in many titles over the past 30 years.
A pearl. Whoa! Whoa!
That one's funny.
We can trace the roots of the women as reward trope all the way back to the beginnings of the medium itself. As we discussed in our Damsel in Distress miniseries, upon successful completion of many arcade games, players were rewarded with the related Smooch of Victory trope, so named for the kiss the hero received as a reward for rescuing a kidnapped princess. Sometimes the prize is blatant, as with the standard hero reward, in which a king will give his daughter to—
But fun fact, look at the setting of these games that she's using. Do you know what went on back you know in the medieval times, and when we had kings and queens and all that shit? You know what was going on back then? That was, you know, a big thing was arranged marriages. Well, obviously they would like offer their daughter as a prize for some night or whatever, you know, whatever. Like it's just that's how it's always been back then. I mean, I'm not gonna play a historian and be like, well, see, this is fact, but like, who fucking cares? It's like
the hero.
You know what I mean.
On other occasions, it's taken a step further by employing the parallel sex of victory or rescue sex trope. Yes, it's exactly what you think it is. Instead of a kiss, sex with the rescued victim is the player's reward.
That was gonna get ugly. You saved us.
My pleasure, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You saved my life. A bit of joy as recompense is not too much to ask.
I'm intrigued. It's been a tough day. I think some joy might do me good.
We've coined the women as reward trope to describe a long-running pattern found in interactive media. It occurs when women, or more often women's bodies, are employed as rewards for player actions in video games. The trope frames female bodies as collectible, as tractable, or as consumable, and positions women as status symbols designed to validate the masculinity of presumed straight male players. There's some
Yes. When I see a naked woman, I'm like, yes, I'm a man.
overlap between the damsel in distress and women as reward, but they function differently. While the damsel in distress trope uses women as a plot device to motivate male heroes, the women as reward trope presents women as a formalized reward mechanism, meaning that the reward is coded into the game system itself. The result of this incentive structure is that access to women's bodies, women's affection, or women's sexuality is reduced to a simple equation that guarantees delivery as long as the correct set of inputs are entered into the system. In this way, the women as
Oh my, cheat codes. Those damn sexist cheat codes.
reward trope helps foster a sense of entitlement, where players are encouraged to view women as something they've earned the right to by virtue of their gaming actions, skills, or accomplishments.
Yes, because just because someone feels entitled in a video game doesn't means that they're gonna impose such entitlement in the real world. Because when you go to a bar and you're like a guy, you're like, oh man, I want to impress this woman. You go up to them and be like, hey, I got the high score in Super Mario Brothers. Kind of a big deal. I got the real ending in Metal Gear Solid 5, and I got all the side ops. So yeah, you're gonna have to show me the goods. Because I'm just so good at video games right now. Okay, just do it. Okay, we're not gonna talk. We're not gonna go on dates and all that. No. See, I played a video game. I'm entitled. You don't understand.
This is illustrated in arcade classics like Joe and Mac and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. After players save the damsel in both games, she will bestow a kiss on the character who earned the most points on that stage.
I owe you one.
Entitlement to women is made even more explicit in many versions of Double Dragon. At the end of the game, after the final boss has been defeated and the damsel in distress saved, Player 1 and Player 2 must fight each other over who gets to have Marion, and with her...
But that kind of happens in real life when, let's say you go to a bar with your friend, and you both see this one girl, and you're like, oh man, I want to date her, I want to get with her and all that shit. And your friend thinks the same way. Guess what? You're both going to end up be fighting over her. This is more like a dumbed down, simplified version of that kind of conflict, but it's basically the same thing, it happens.
Her, the smooch of victory.
The smooch of victory.
Notice that Marion's desires are not part of the equation. She has no say in the matter. She
walked towards them. She could have just been like, oh yeah, you be your friend for me. I don't give a fuck. Thank you for saving me, though. Later, she could have done that. But obviously, those damn programmers forced her to kiss him. Obviously, that pixel didn't want it, but the programmer forced it. It was rape. That was rape, guys. You just saw rape.
Fills the role of a trophy for whichever player is ultimately victorious. This scene serves as inspiration for similar scenarios in more contemporary games.
Oh yeah, Castle Crashers, dude. That game is so serious. It's like a very serious game. Obviously, there's no sense of humor or parody or satire or whatever. Obviously, Castle Crashers is meant to be taken very seriously. So this whole thing where you fight your friends to get with that girl is obviously not meant to be taken as a joke. No. Obviously, it's there to be a reward and meant to be taken seriously.
Castle Crashers.
Yes.
We've identified 6 primary ways the women as reward trope manifests.
Oh man, remember when she... I think she did a lot of this in her old videos in the first season. Remember when she did all this shit? She doesn't do that anymore.
Over the course of this episode, we will examine each in turn. In addition to the earned cinematics we've already discussed, we will cover the trope as it relates to Easter eggs, unlockable costumes, experience points, collectibles, and...
There's no need to do this. She could just go into these categories organically. She doesn't have to be like, okay, see, we did this, now we're going to do this, and now we're going to do that, and then we're going to do this. It's like, just get to it.
Achievements. Easter eggs are intentionally hidden secrets or jokes which developers conceal inside of their games. Like the eggs at a children's Easter egg hunt, these secrets are usually difficult to find, but are meant to be discovered as rewards for particularly industrious gamers. Easter eggs can be hidden messages, items, secret characters, or random events, and their inclusion encourages experimentation with the game's systems and mechanics in order to uncover these extra treasures. Some can be found inside game environments, while others require a cheat code to unlock. For example, if players input a specific button sequence while starting up the 1991 role-playing game Rings of Power, the title screen would change. By pressing down, right, A, B, C, and the start button, players were rewarded with an image of a topless woman next to the Naughty Dog logo. Easter eggs are, of course, not inherently problematic.
Dude, imagine if they try to do that shit today. Like, Last of Us 2 comes out. Oh yeah, if you put this input in, you'll see this a topless girl. Dude, the fucking feminists will go crazy. They'll be like, I thought they were moving in the right direction because they had Ellie in Last of Us 1 and she was like such a strong character. Now they do this? Oh my god, guys. Sexist pigs.
And gaming history is filled with examples of neat secrets that designers have hidden away for players to discover. But too frequently, Easter eggs are used as another way to reward players with women's bodies. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 included a secret unlockable character named Daisy, who bore the likeness of porn star Jenna Jameson.
Remember, based on a porn star. You know what porn stars do? We all know what porn stars do. DSP knows.
Daisy's sexualized appearance and skateboard tricks are designed as a reward for those players who unlocked her. One way to do that is by entering this code.
Get it? Get it?
Probably one of the most famous women as reward Easter eggs brings us back to Samus Aran. The original Metroid used a password system to save progress. By inputting the secret code Justin Bailey into this system, gamers would unlock a powered-up playable version of Samus wearing only her leotard-style bathing suit. Incidentally, this is the same outfit we covered earlier as an endgame.
Oh yeah, because that's fucking sexy, right guys? Pixels. Pixels are fucking sexy. Oh man. Fucking pixels.
Reward. Only here she has the powers of the Varia suit and its associated color palette swap, which changes her hair.
So obviously no way they would put that code in for the power-ups that it comes with it. No, they're doing it for the leotard, obviously.
Color green. Players can then play the entire game as Samus without her space armor. So she ends up exploring a hostile alien world and fighting off deadly monsters in her underwear.
Welcome to the HoverCon Intergalactic Hoverboard Competition.
There's a bizarre Easter egg in the original Ratchet & Clank. If the player does a series of side flips in front of a green-skinned alien, the woman's breasts will suddenly begin to inflate. The more gymnastic stunts performed, the larger her boobs will become. There are so many women as reward style Easter eggs in the Metal Gear Solid series.
So many! So many, guys! There's a lot. There's okay, so Quiet is obviously a reward if you decide to keep her alive. So that's one. Metal Gear Solid 5, that's one. Meryl in Metal Gear Solid 1 if you go into the bathroom, that's 2. Eva in MGS 3. Oh, and then Rose in MGS 4 because you could make her boobs jiggle. Oh, and then fuck, man. Then Peace Walker, you have the bathing suit stuff. So MGS2 was the only one that didn't have anything to do with women's body as a reward, unless you count Raiden. Get it? Because Raiden's a bitch, guys.
That it would take several hours to go over them all.
Several hours to go over them all. Did I take several hours to list all the examples, guys? Did it take several hours? No. It took me like a minute.
For the PlayStation in 1998, and then remade for the GameCube in 2004, Metal Gear Solid featured not one, but 2 separate Easter eggs that allow players to see Meryl Silverberg in her underwear. The second of these Easter eggs requires players to follow Meryl into the ladies' room and interrupt her while she's changing. If this is done quickly enough, the next cutscene will play with Meryl in her underwear.
Anyway, how did you recognize me in disguise?
I never forget a lady.
Jumping ahead to the fourth game, the protagonist is assigned a psychologist for PTSD counseling.
I mean, she doesn't go over all of them. She just goes over to like 2, and then that's it. That's several hours. I mean, 2 is so many.
During these remote sessions, if players shake their PlayStation controller, the psychologist's breasts will bounce and jiggle in response.
Memories began to resurface from his childhood when he fought for Solidus.
Yeah, but to be honest, like, no one really cared about that. Like, I did that when I first found out about it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, it wasn't really anything special, and, yeah, most of the time you're going to be listening to the story, but if you're going to be doing that, it's like, it's fun for, like, a minute. Maybe less than a minute. Maybe a minute's too generous, but...
In Civil War.
Keep in mind that Easter eggs are not accidents or glitches. They're intentionally put into the game by the designers, and as a result indicate that—
But sometimes they are a result of the glitch, and then they were like, well, that glitch is now an Easter egg, because, like, I think there's a few games that had an Easter egg in another game, in like a sequel, that was based off a glitch in the previous game. You know? Like,
the value that the designers themselves place on these female characters. They communicate to players that, yes, these women exist for players to exploit or experiment with for their own amusement.
Yes. Yes, when I play a video game, when I see a woman there, I instantly think that. You got me, Anita. That's the first thought.
Unlockable outfits are additional costumes earned during gameplay, which allow gamers to play dress-up with player characters or party members. Alternative skins, as they're sometimes called, come in all shapes and sizes, and are typically just cosmetic changes to the character's appearance, although sometimes they add special abilities. Many unlockable costumes are cool, wacky, or bizarre, but when applied to female characters, we see a distinct pattern of revealing, hypersexualized outfits.
Okay. When you play Dead Rising, you can have like that Borat Speedo thing that he wears. That's a thing you can actually wear. So yeah, but it only happens to women. Only women.
Fetishized bunny, cat, maid, or nurse costumes are commonly used by developers as a way to pander to an assumed straight male player base. It's important to remember that sexualization is not necessarily just about the amount of skin showing, but is instead connected to the question of whether or not a costume is eroticized for the express purpose of titillation.
Hey, why were you wearing that stuffy-looking suit of armor?
Oh, you didn't like it? It's pretty sturdy and protects my body quite nicely. See? Look at this beautiful skin, free of bruises and blemishes.
Very nice. I'm actually worried where my eyes might wander.
You don't look all that worried to me.
I've just got a good poker face. So you're okay? You don't mind leaving your armor behind?
It's sturdy, but it's heavy. Walking
Okay,
around...
can someone tell me if this is an actual like thing in the game? Like this actual cutscene, because this looks fake to me. I don't know. I mean, it's 2008, but it looks really fake. It's really fake to me.
With that on tires me out.
Hey, no complaints here. I prefer eye candy to scary armor any day.
These types of unlockable outfits can be especially pernicious since they often end up undermining women who are otherwise appropriately dressed for active or professional roles. The Resident Evil franchise has been particularly guilty of this over the years. Almost every major release in the series has included the women as reward trope. Resident Evil is a bit unusual in that since its beginnings in the mid-90s, the franchise has featured a large number of playable female protagonists, most of whom are skilled zombie fighters and have impressive professional resumes, to say the least. Rebecca Chambers is a police officer and medic in the Special Tactics and Rescue Service. Players can dress her up in sexy nurse and cheerleader costumes. Jill Valentine is a high-ranking special operations agent in the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance, and also the Master of Unlocking. She can be placed in sexy policewoman and sexy pirate outfits. Claire Redfield is a member of a human rights organization that provides aid during bioterrorism incidents. She can be turned into a motorsport umbrella girl. Sherry Birkin is a U.S. government agent working with the Division of Security Operations, and here she's wearing a schoolgirl outfit. Helena Harper is a Secret Service agent and a former member of the CIA. Her unlockable costumes include another sexy policewoman.
But actually, no, that's a dope design. Not because it's sexy, but it looks fucking badass. Look at that shit. Whatever. Okay, yeah. Obviously, it's because it's sexy, right?
Complete with miniskirt and garter belt. Shiva Alamar is an agent for the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance, operating in the West African branch. The tribal print bikini outfit is especially disconcerting because it combines the sexualization of a female character with the racist tradition of exotifying women of color, particularly women of African ancestry. More on that topic in an upcoming video.
So no woman in Africa or in a tribal setting would dress like that. I mean, like, I would understand more if like Sheva was a white woman. I could kind of understand. I could see where that's coming from. But like, she's African. There are tribes in Africa that those are whatever. But also no one really cares about that. I mean, she's a fucking polygon.
As a reward for completing the main game under specific conditions, players gain the ability to shove these female police and special agents into the digital equivalent of those patronizing sexy Halloween costumes we see mass-produced.
And yet they wear them! Isn't that funny? How, like, women can go to a costume store, buy any costume, and that's what they buy? Isn't that funny? Like, they could have picked any other costume, and they choose that. Isn't that funny? But then when a video game does it, oh, now it's wrong, right? Oh, because a man dresses them like that. So I guess all these women that you see during Halloween that dress like that, a man told them to wear that, obviously, right? No way does women have a free right to choose what Halloween costume they wear for Halloween, right? No. Obviously they don't. You're fucking kidding me?
Every year. These ensembles are not only completely inappropriate for the mission at hand, but also reduce otherwise—
Yes, because you're playing a game with fucking zombies. Obviously, your first question to think is, what are they wearing, right? Yeah, you're fighting zombies. You're not thinking of trying to survive or anything. No, you're thinking about what these polygons are wearing. Okay.
Capable characters to sexual objects for the voyeuristic enjoyment of players.
None of this makes any sense. What did we do?
Wish I could tell you.
The latest game in the series, 2015's—
Oh man, imagine if she plays One-Chain Bara. Oh man.
Resident Evil Revelations 2 continues this condescending tradition by offering DLC that puts Claire Redfield into a sexualized cowgirl outfit and forces Moira into whatever the hell this is.
Forces Moira, so they force her into that? You're telling me that video game developers are forcing polygons to wear things now. So we're gonna have Polygon Lives Matter. I wanted to see that trending on Twitter by tomorrow. If I don't see Polygon Lives Matter, then you're all fucking sexist, racist pigs. I'm joking, of course, but honestly, I can't take her seriously after that. That is just, it's a nitpick. It's a nitpick thing to pick out of the whole thing, of this whole video so far, but they forced a polygon into that. Okay, yeah, all right.
Supposed to be. The developers call it an urban ninja costume?
Urban ninja costume. Well, she has a sword. It's kind of ninja-like, because you have the belt on the arm. She has kind of ninja boots on as well. I'll call it erotic ninja, to be honest. I don't know what's urban about it, other than, like, I guess it's urban in the sense that, like, these are kind of cheap, I guess? I don't fucking know. I would just call it erotic, to be honest. Just call it what it is.
Meanwhile,
I can't believe it.
The male playable character, Barry, gets a gentleman's commandant alternative costume.
Oh no.
Alternative costumes—
That's the only costume he gets in the game? Oh man.
For men are rarely objectifying. They're instead presented as tough—
Rarely objectifying. Obviously, they're not objectifying this guy being topless, perfect male physique. No, that's not objectification. No way do women ever fantasize being in the arms of a strong man? Obviously, no, that's not objectifying. That's just telling you what it is. So, thank you, Anita gave us a compliment, guys. She thinks that we're all ripped studs.
Guy power fantasies for other straight men to identify with. And when men are stripped down—
That's obviously not objectifying, right? No, obviously it's not.
For their beachwear, it's most often meant as a lighthearted joke. Shifting to an example of a game that does alternative female costume.
So, yeah, so if they do it to a man, it's a lighthearted joke, but if they do it to a woman, it's not. Okay, obviously, like, the urban ninja outfit and that outfit, you know, that Claire was wearing, obviously was meant to be taken seriously and not as a joke. Okay.
That's right. Alice Madness Returns features a wide assortment of imaginative, unlockable dresses. And if you must go the bunny girl or cat girl route, this right here is definitely the way to do it. In many games, experience points
Dude, we're going back and we're like regressing everything. Yeah, we have repeal the 19th Amendment trending on Twitter. We have this going on. I mean, where are we going?
Are earned by completing tasks like defeating monsters or finishing quests. Once enough experience points have been accumulated, player characters can periodically level up, making them stronger or giving them access to new abilities. Unfortunately, designers sometimes tie the awarding of experience points directly to sexual interactions with female characters, effectively transforming women into conduits which players can utilize to become more powerful warriors. In the 2007 game Conan, for example, dozens of half-naked maidens are chained up throughout the game.
Take me and crush me with your love!
When rescued, they essentially function as sexualized treasure chests, rewarding the player with experience points, which are then used to unlock more powerful fighting moves.
Just a bit longer.
We've reached Athens. Get your things and get out.
A number of other games tie experience points directly to sex. The God of War games, for instance, established a tradition of including mini-games that reward the player for successfully having sex with one or more women.
Because you know, the one thing in Greek mythology is that all the gods were all prude and they never had sex or anything. So them having sex in a game based on Greek mythology is just so unheard of, guys.
Completing these little quick-time events earn players red orbs that are used to upgrade attacks and magic. Beginning with the third game, the Grand Theft Auto series allows players to buy sex from prostitutes.
Get in the car.
And rewards them by restoring their health meter. In Grand Theft Auto 5, players are given additional encouragement to solicit prostitutes in the form of an increase to their character's stamina rating, which enables those characters to sprint, swim, or ride a bike faster for longer periods.
Yeah, because sex doesn't really require stamina, right?
Okay.
Whatever, Anita.
Similarly, in The Witcher 3, Geralt earns a handful of experience points for buying sex from prostitutes, and he earns more points for sex with the courtesans in the wealthier districts than with the strumpets in the poor parts of the city.
Greetings to the honourable gentlemen. Welcome. Make yourself at home. What have you come for? We're prepared to fulfill your every whim.
I like you. Like how you look. Like how you smell.
When women are used as sexualized experience point dispensers, the sexual scenarios are themselves a reward designed to validate the masculinity of presumed straight male players. But there's a dual reward here. Absorbing these expressions of female sexuality carries with it the ability for male characters to grow stronger, faster, and more capable, reducing the women to points in a mathematical equation that directly links the flippant consumption of female sexuality to an increase in male power. Note that while the consumption of women makes male characters more powerful, it has nothing to do with mutual relationship building. The relationship, such as it is, ends with sex, or rescuing the woman. At that point, she has served her purpose.
What about Mass Effect? Are you gonna talk about that game? Oh wait, you did, and you said it was some shit, like it's sexist or something? Okay.
Purpose. Players have reaped the benefits, and her value has been depleted. Like an empty energy drink container, she is simply cast aside after being consumed.
Because she's a hooker! Anita, do you know what hookers are in real life? Have you seen them? I mean, you might say that, well, you know, prostitutes in real life, you know, should be, whatever, but they exist. They're a thing. They're just putting them in video games. That's it. Do you see people go to prostitutes and have meaningful relations with them? Do you know what people do with prostitutes, Anita? I mean, are you that naive? Come on, Anita. I'm sure you know what a prostitute is in real life.
That was nice.
That's hardly the only problem with female NPCs who are designed to function as sexually objectified set dressing. For more on the myriad of issues with these types of characters, see our 2 videos on the women as background decoration trope.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that.
Collectibles are virtual items placed or hidden throughout a game world for players to find. Some collectible objects have effects on gameplay, such as boosting player stats or serving as score multipliers. Other collectibles are designed simply to be accumulated to provide a sense of accomplishment. Once acquired, some collectibles unlock...
See how, like, not human she looks when she's talking? Like, she just sits there perfectly still. It's so uneasy, and it's so fucking weird. Like I you know, move your hands, do something, look human.
Concept art or other media fragments that can be viewed later in galleries selected from the game's menu screen. When done well, collectibles inspire exploration and replayability. However, when they're designed to function as an extension of the women
did she tie her arms down to do this? It was well, this is oh my god, it's so
wardrobe. Players
easy.
Are encouraged to view women's bodies as souvenirs of their adventures. In the 2010 remake of Splatterhouse, players are encouraged to collect ripped-up pieces of photographs of the protagonist's girlfriend, which are strewn around each level. Once the player pieces them together, the completed images consist mostly of private, personal sexual photos.
I swear to God, you put this on the internet, and your ass is grass buster.
Sometimes the women as reward.
She put it on the internet, guys. No, but well, the context is that you're playing her boyfriend, so you're seeing what he sees when he sees that picture. So it's still private because it's between those two characters. The camera's not a third character.
Wardrobe takes the form of corporate branded product placement. For instance, 2K Games officially partnered with Playboy to include 50 hidden magazines scattered throughout Mafia 2's open-world environment. Once found, each collectible opens to reveal vintage centerfolds from real 1950s Playboy issues. The discovered magazines are then stored in the game's inventory and are available to be perused at the player's whim.
Yeah, you should only look at Playboys the way that God intended in real life. Just go to any magazine store in an airport or anywhere, and just look at it that way. Looking at it through a game, I mean, come on, guys. Are you sexist? Get a magazine.
Konami's Metal Gear Solid series took this trend a step further by actually turning pornography into a weapon. In Metal Gear Solid 4, there are Playboy magazines scattered throughout the game world for players to find. When acquired, the magazines are stored in the game's weapons inventory, alongside rifles and handguns, and serve a dual purpose. Players can look through the images at their leisure, and also use them to set traps by laying the centerfolds open on the battlefield to distract enemies.
What's this?
Yes, because how dare they show the NPCs as human beings that might get aroused. God damn it.
In the first Witcher game, players are awarded romance cards for successfully seducing each of over 24 different non-playable female characters.
Let's take our relationship further.
Come home with me. Let me thank you.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Like other examples we've talked about, these pornographic collectibles are saved in the player's inventory and are available to be ogled at any time. The souvenirs function as a private...
guys are ogling at women that don't exist, guys. What a tragedy. What a terrible thing. Won't someone think of the polygons?
Trophy collection, encouraging players to view these female characters as sexual conquests and acquire as many different flavors of women as possible during their playthrough. If collectibles in the player's inventory work as a private trophy collection, then achievements serve as a public trophy case, on display for all to see. Achievements, or trophies, are meta-goal award systems built into most popular gaming platforms. Unlike collectibles, achievements are earned through in-game actions, but awarded outside of the game environment itself and have no effect on gameplay. Some achievements are rewarded for skill or completion of tasks, while others are arbitrary challenges set up by developers.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort.
These systems encourage replayability and provide players with incentives to spend more time inside the game space, experimenting with its environments and characters. By default, your achievements are visible to anyone who views your profile on a gaming platform, and thus they allow players to show off their gaming skill or dedication to their friends. In other words, achievements are designed to function as status symbols for gamers.
Okay.
A whole host of games reward players with trophies for successfully having sex with one or more female characters. A suspicious number of those achievements are called Ladies' Man.
The gods have truly blessed you, Kratos.
Other games in the God of War series use a variety of euphemistic naming schemes for this. In the PS3 version of the original game, the trophy's titled Rockin' the Boat.
PS3 version? Oh, okay.
In Ghost of Sparta, players receive the A Hero's Welcome trophy. And in Chains of Olympus, the award is called 2 Girls, 1 Spartan.
Oh, Nico, I really like you.
Some games in the Grand Theft Auto series offer achievements for betting a girlfriend.
I think she likes me.
Just so we're clear on what's happening here, players are receiving a literal trophy for achieving sex with a woman. When games such as these award players with
yes, because obviously no one on planet Earth, says like, oh, I had sex with my girlfriend, for the first time, like obviously no one puts any like value in losing your virginity, right? No one, not even the women. Women don't do that either, right? Right? Oh wait a second.
Achievements or trophies for sexual conquest.
Who cares?
They're directly
Who cares? They're fucking polygons.
Reinforcing negative ways of
Video
thinking
games.
about the dynamics between men and women in our society.
Oh no.
By presenting sex as an end goal of men's interactions or relationships with women, these games frame sexual encounters as challenges to be overcome. Let me emphasize that the problem.
Yes, because when you have sex with a girlfriend, it's not like you had to go through dates. And you had to get to know them before it. It's not like you had to do all of that to get to have sex, because it's kind of a challenge to get sex, I guess. I mean, I know it sounds bad, but think about it. Are you gonna have sex with just about anyone? No, you're not. You're gonna, some people do that, but that's why prostitutes have a place, but. If you want to get a girlfriend, you want to, do all that stuff, you have to know them, you got to do all that stuff, because sex is a very, personal thing and all that kind of stuff, and all that shit. So obviously you're not gonna fucking like, oh yeah, if you don't have sex, then we're just proving our point, I guess. I don't fucking know. Who fucking cares? And these are video games. Who cares? I'm not gonna play a video game and be like, okay, I can get a girlfriend now. I beat Metal Gear Solid 5. I 100%ed it. I can now have sex with a girlfriend. With a girl, yes. I have the experience for this.
Here is not necessarily that sex is included in these games. By presenting sex as a goal and then presenting players with an award for accomplishing that goal, these achievements function as a form of trophyism. Simply put, trophyism is the tendency for men to view women as objects to be collected and displayed as status symbols of their sexual prowess or virility.
Guys, I got a trophy God of War 3 where I had sex with a woman. I'm a man now. I'm a man, guys. I had sex in the video game. I'm a man. Do you know how fucking sad you have to be to think like that? Dude, imagine if you go to a bar and someone's like, oh, are you still a virgin? No, I had sex in God of War 3. So I'm not a virgin. I'm a man. Okay.
These trophy women then serve as a way for men to assert their social status among and relative to other men. The fame point system in the 2004 version of Sid Meier's Pirates provides us with a stark illustration of trophyism. In the game, romancing and then rescuing any of the game's many governor's daughters not only rewards your pirate with the option to marry her, but also wins him extra fame points. The daughters are largely interchangeable, they don't even have names, and their value as a reward is tied directly to their appearance. Courting and marrying a plain daughter earned fewer fame points than marrying an attractive one, and marrying a beautiful daughter earns the most points of all. Fame points then directly contribute to the social status your character achieves at the end of the game. Depending on the amount of points accrued, you could end up as anything from a lowly pauper to a powerful governor. Other ways to earn fame points include acquiring wealth and defeating rivals. Like all your swashbuckling escapades, acquiring a woman becomes just another feather in your proverbial cap, functioning to elevate your prestige and renown in society. And since in the game's Xbox Live Arcade release there are achievements for getting married and for courting governors' daughters from all 4 nations at once, these accomplishments also increase your gaming status. Achievements on Sony PlayStation platforms are called trophies, but back when they were first introduced, they were called entitlements, which is a fitting name for those that fall into the women as reward trope.
Were they? I thought they were always called trophies, but whatever.
Since entitlement, or more specifically male entitlement, is the crux of much of what we've been discussing in this video, let's take a moment to define
male entitlement. It's suited for video games to call them entitlements because of male entitlement. Because obviously there's no such thing as female gamers, right?
Entitlement actually means. First, the word entitlement refers to the conviction that someone deserves something, that they are owed it, that they have a right to it. By extension, male entitlement is the conviction that men are owed something by virtue of their gender. It's the belief structure that tells men they deserve to have their whims catered to, both culturally and interpersonally. One of the most harmful aspects of male entitlement is the false belief that men have a right to survey and use women's bodies. This mentality carries with it a corresponding set of expectations about what women should provide for men. It's a worldview that primarily defines women's social role as vessels of sexuality and men's roles as consumers or patrons of that sexuality.
But that has changed. No man thinks like that. I mean, there's still probably some people that still see women like that, but not as much as it was. That not to sound like just no.
Unlike access to clean water or healthcare, which should be considered human rights that all people deserve simply for being human, access to a woman's affections, her body, or her...
in the words of Frank Underwood in Kevin Spacey in House of Cards, you aren't entitled to shit. Like, you're not entitled to anything, whatever. I don't remember the exact quote. Okay, I'm sorry, House of Cards fans. I don't have that good of a memory. But yeah, no one's entitled to anything. Yeah, I do feel that people should have healthcare. It's important because, your health does matter. Believe it or not, I know it's crazy, but on the other hand, doctors do need to get paid for the work that they do. Just saying, respect your doctors.
Her sexuality is not a right owed to anyone except herself. This should be obvious, but unfortunately, male entitlement is a pervasive problem in our culture today. The male entitlement mindset has a profound impact on how men relate to and interact with women. We see it manifest whenever a man orders a woman to show him her tits, or makes demands during an online game.
I'm sorry, but dude, get your hair cut. Do something. That's way too long. That
a woman send him nude or sexual...
I know, someone's gonna say, well, Theo, you're objectifying her by talking about her hair. Well, look at that. Come on.
Photos. We see it in real-world spaces whenever men
I did the same about my hair. My hair was that long.
We see it whenever a man gropes a woman at an event or convention. We see it whenever a man expects sex in return for buying a woman dinner. At its most serious, male entitlement is a mentality...
But then when you go on a date, isn't it also funny that the woman expects the man to pay for the dinner? Isn't that weird? Isn't that just kind of weird how a woman expects that? Or how a woman expects a man to ask her out on a date, but it's never the other way around most of the time? Isn't that also funny? Isn't that also something that we should be talking about? No, obviously it's one way. It's only men. Men are the only gender that does this. No, women don't have any expectations for men to uphold or anything. Not like women has ever criticized that men aren't chivalrous as they are in the past, right? No woman has ever talked to some women, asked them, do you think men are chivalrous or chivalry is dead or whatever? Obviously no woman has ever talked about that, right? Yeah, no. Obviously no. Obviously only men think of entitlement. No way does a woman think like that.
That serves as the foundation for the epidemics of date rape and sexual assault in our society. To be clear, this doesn't mean that every individual man consciously thinks that he has a right to the body of every individual woman he sees. Rather, male entitlement operates in the background of our culture. It's a socially constructed mentality.
Yes, so in the back of my mind, I'm actually objectifying women and thinking that I'm entitled to them. Oh, fuck, man.
So deeply.
My racist brain. My sexist brain. My brain's so sexist, I don't even know it.
Ingrained that it's often invisible.
Man, that's a whole other level.
An unquestioned base assumption. The critical thing to remember...
This is like DSP's invisible lag, man.
Here is that men are not born with this sense of entitlement. It's a learned way of thinking that shapes the ways men relate to women and women's bodies.
Fantastic!
This attitude is taught through a complex
But guess what? Men like that, they don't last in relationships. They don't.
Socialization process impacted by a whole host of factors. Families, religions, peer groups, movies, pop music, mainstream pornography, and video games can all play a part in the construction and perpetuation of this mentality. So of course, video games on their own are not responsible for single-handedly creating male entitlement. However, because games are interactive systems, they can be programmed to reinforce male entitlement in some unique ways not found in other forms of media.
It's not the game, but it's the game. Okay. Oh, fuck that game. That game is shitty.
For instance, in Asura's Wrath, when the player stares at a maiden's breasts, she'll try to cover herself up. But if the player keeps staring, they will unlock an achievement called View of the Valley. Similarly, in Lollipop Chainsaw, the player can unlock the "I swear, I did it by mistake" achievement for using the game camera to look up Juliet's skirt for an extended period of time, despite her coy efforts to block players from doing so.
Okay. Oh, that song is great. Dun, dun, dun.
The Casanova achievement in the Saboteur can be unlocked for utilizing a mechanic in which players kiss 50 random women on the street without their consent as a form of camouflage to evade pursuing Nazis.
That's what I'm looking for.
These achievements are directly rewarding players for in-game behavior that amounts to sexual harassment. Players are actively being encouraged to think of women's bodies as something they are entitled to interact with. That fact in and of itself is troubling, but it's just another example of the core problem with the women as reward trope.
Yeah,
Game
core
systems
problem,
are designed
guys.
to provide feedback mechanisms that either punish or reward players for the ways they interact with virtual environments. Because video games are constructed around these formal input-output systems, they can be an especially powerful tool for reinforcing cognitive patterns by modeling and rewarding player behavior. In a game, you're not just watching someone else being rewarded with a woman. You, the player, are earning a woman as a reward yourself for the actions you yourself have performed. Players make their correct inputs into the game. A woman's affection or her body is the corresponding output. Players go through the process of saving the princess, and the game's algorithm dutifully rewards them with what they think they are rightfully owed for doing so, whether it be a kiss, a girlfriend, or sexual attention. Social science indicates that one of the primary ways we learn about the world and our relationships to each other is through a process of observation and imitation. Human beings also learn by seeing something modeled for us, especially when the modeled actions are accompanied by rewards or punishments. Video games are uniquely positioned to provide experiences that do all of these things, because in most games, the player occupies both the role of participant and the role of spectator to their own actions. In this way, the women as reward trope in video games becomes a mechanism through which male entitlement is taught and reinforced in our wider culture.
Oh my god.
Cognitively,
I can't.
it's strikingly similar to the expectation that if a man buys a woman a few drinks, then he's owed sex. The money and time for
that's what all men think when they go to a bar is that if I buy them drinks, I'll get sex. Yeah, okay. I mean, maybe a date rapist will think like that, but not.
The alcohol and conversation are the inputs, the sexual gratification.
So then, how do you? So then, Anita, I just want to know. So I get this clear. Going on dates, talking to women, getting to know them better are all inputs for men to get sex out of women, right? So how do you get sex then, Anita? How do you presume that, or tell us, I don't know if I presume right, but how would you explain how men would be able to get sex with women? If talking to them is just objectifying them, if going on dates is objectifying them, if paying the bill of said date is objectifying them, then how would you do it, Anita? Would you just have sex with, it's... I mean, I guess she's alluding to that you need to get married first. I guess she's one of those people that believe that, which is fine. But, the best way to have sex is consensual. Just my 2 cents. If both parties are are consensual in it, then, you know, hey man, A+, good, you know, there you go. You did what you had to do by just getting to know the person, because you don't want to have sex with someone you barely know. So I don't see how getting to know them is objectifying them, but whatever.
Is the output. When men's entitlement-based expectations are not fulfilled, they sometimes lash out in resentment or aggression towards women. This is clearly illustrated in the...
Oh yeah, so like if I go on a date, if I start paying for the date and all that, and then I end up being in the friend zone, yeah, I'm gonna be very happy about that. Not like I paid for two people, paid for a movie, you know, talk to them, you know, thinking that, oh, it's gonna be a date. See, this is the issue. If you want to have a friend, that's fine, but at least have the other person know that, you know, you're my friend, not just trail them around with, you know, like with the assumption of it, and then be like, oh no, you're just my friend. I can't have sex with you. Then it's like kind of fucking shitty. I know people. I know girls that have done that before. I was friends with one, and she was leading around one of my other friends. He's in one of my Theo and I Endure Myself, my old videos. He's in that in those videos. He's the little. I did a skit and he was a little kid there, whatever. But he was being trailed around by our friend, being like, oh, well, he'll buy everything for me, and he's just gonna be my friend. I won't have to worry about everything because he'll be there for me because I know he has a thing for me, and she manipulated him for that. So you tell me about that, Anita. I mean, obviously you're gonna tell me that that's a load of shit, but I've seen it happen. She actually even told me in person that she's exploiting him out of his crush on her, and they've had multiple. And the worst part is that she actually even told him that, and he still is basically her bitch. So
the catcalling scenarios I mentioned earlier. Street harassers feel entitled to women's time and women's attention. If they don't get the response they feel they're owed, they can become increasingly angry, following their targets, insulting them, groping them.
Okay, stalking them and rape is not a proper way to lash out about it. Maybe, like, you know, telling them, like, look, you know, I thought that we were getting somewhere. You know, we had this many dates. I mean, it had to be a couple of dates, not one date. One date's not enough to have sex. Okay, no, a few dates. You know, after a certain amount of dates, all the things you did for that person, and they're like, no, you're just my friend. You know, like, that's kind of shitty. You know, like, you know, that's kind of shitty. That you did all this stuff, and then it's like you end up being friends. That's fucking shitty. It's not the end of the world. It's not worth getting super mad about, but it's something that you might want to tell her, like, look, I thought we were going somewhere and all that shit, but it's not worth getting violent over. No. And if someone gets violent over that, then that person is obviously a not a good person to be around, you know?
Otherwise aggressively demanding to be acknowledged. In the gaming community, we see this entitlement-fueled outrage bubble to the surface when some gamers encounter indications that games aren't made exclusively with their fantasies in mind. Angry public temper tantrums.
What is Mass Effect? Mass Effect 3, the only temper tantrum people had was the ending. It had nothing to do with the romance in that game. It was just that people felt that the ending was shallow. I do think that it's silly that people got fucking annoyed. Like, they got so mad about the ending that they demanded it to be fixed. I mean, it's fine to not like the ending of Mass Effect 3. Don't get me wrong. You can dislike that ending all you want. But, to go to the levels of demanding a new ending was just ridiculous. And Dragon Age Inquisition, I don't know that many people that were that upset about that game, but whatever.
Straight male players have occurred when role-playing games have forced them to interact with gay male characters, or presented them with lesbian characters.
What? Mass Effect forces them to... What? Okay.
Characters who were not available as romance options to male avatars. Angry backlash from straight male players also materializes when Western releases of Japanese games place women in slightly less revealing outfits, or increase the age of young sexualized female characters to 18. In the same vein, when age of Japanese games place women in slightly less revealing outfits, or increase the age of young sexualized female characters to 18. In the same
I kind of didn't understand the last part. She's saying that people are upset that they are angry that they're making a 14-year-old a sexy 18-year-old. Dude, that is fucked up. If you're sexualizing a fucking child, that's fucked up. I don't know. I didn't get that. I don't know if she was saying that's a negative, that people were getting upset that they sexualized a 14-year-old. I mean, I think that's something worth to be upset about because it's a fucking child. But okay, I kind of don't want to follow that argument any further. It's just
in vain. When presented with critical analysis of the poor representations of women in many popular games, this intense male entitlement manifests in aggression, abuse, and threats. As we've demonstrated in this episode, the women as reward trope is set up to fulfill a very specific male entitlement-oriented fantasy. In many cases, game creators may not even realize their mechanics are working to cement this mentality, but when games use a woman's affection, her body, or her sexuality as a carrot on a stick, they're actively encouraging men to think of women as objects, prizes, and status symbols. And it's not just men who are affected. This ideology of male entitlement seeps into the wider social consciousness of everyone, regardless of gender, a byproduct of which can negatively impact the ways women relate to one another and the ways we think about our relationships to our own bodies and our own sexuality. The good news is that because male entitlement is a learned attitude, it can, through education and conscious effort, be unlearned. And game systems are capable of being part of that transformative process.
Well, not video games, but real life could also be a learning process, because I'm sure if you go around, if you talk to women and you treat them like shit, they're gonna treat you like shit in return, Pretty sure real life will pretty much teach you lessons as well, whatever.
Just as their interactivity makes them...
It's the video games that should be in charge of raising humanity, not your parents, not yourself. No, video games are, okay.
Powerful tool for reinforcing male entitlement. So too could that interactivity be harnessed to disrupt antiquated gender dynamics and engage us with game mechanics that explore more equitable interactions between people of all genders.
Alright, let's,
If you've ever...
I don't care. Okay. She did, like, a sequel to it, or, like, a, secondary piece on it. Yeah, mini episode. There we go. We're gonna... Oh, Dead or Alive. Oh, boy. Special DLC.
This is a special DLC add-on for our episode examining the women as reward trope.
What a terrible name, because, like, DLC is downloadable content. So we had to download this video, guys, to add it to the other video.
If you haven't seen that video yet, I suggest watching it first before continuing to view this one.
Whatever.
We've coined the women as reward trope to describe a long-running pattern found in interactive media.
Okay,
we get it. Or more often women's bodies, as collectible, the masculine manifests in a number of ways, including collectibles and achievements. Instead of rewarding players for actions taken within the game environments, this one offers women's bodies to players as rewards for actions taken in the real world, namely forking over real money for DLC or pre-orders that then grants gamers the opportunity to play with and ogle female characters in more sexualized outfits or situations.
Do you know how silly this is? You have to pay money to do this.
DLC is short for downloadable content and can refer to a wide range of additional features or extensions to a pre-existing game, which can be purchased and downloaded digitally. While DLC can include everything from extra maps to new levels, from more missions to better gear, for the purposes of this trope, I'm focusing on costume packs that offer sexualized variants of female game characters for an extra fee.
Oh no, I have to pay real money to get something that is totally pointless.
Final Fantasy XIII-2 offers a revealing beachwear costume for the game's protagonist. But unlike the alternative outfits I discussed in the main video, this one is not unlockable via gameplay. Instead, it could be unlocked for $2.99. This is only one example, but sexualized DLC outfits have become standard practice in some gaming genres.
No, I don't believe you. Noel would never give in to you.
In our full video on this trope, we highlight some of the ways mainstream pornography has been seeping into video games as a reward for player actions. The third installment in the Saints Row series pushed this pornification trend even further by partnering with Penthouse magazine. When purchased, the resulting DLC offered gamers the chance to add digital versions of real-life Penthouse pets to the player's gang. Promotional materials read, "For the first time in your life, when you call Penthouse pets, they'll actually answer." Pre-order bonuses are extras awarded to gamers that pay for a game before it's been released. As an incentive, publishers will offer small pieces of largely cosmetic DLC, usually in the form of alternative character skins or unique digital items.
Pre-order now for a free upgrade to the limited edition. Includes 3 extra story missions and a bonus Impaler harpoon gun.
Sometimes different items may be offered by specific retailers. For example, you got the double-barrel elephant rifle for pre-orders of Far Cry 4 at Amazon, but you got the butcher's machete for pre-ordering from Best Buy. When these same, already questionable marketing tactics are combined with sexual objectification, things start to get really insidious.
Pre-order offers include 2 new characters, Angel and Michelle, the big bikini bundle, 4 exclusive Snoop Dogg mash tracks, and the special Snoop Dogg stage.
All pre-order bonus packs of Tekken Tag Tournament 2 include
fucking sexist Snoop Dogg, we're just Snoop Poodle.
The heavily advertised big bikini bundle. And as an added bonus, those who pre-ordered at GameStop stores even received a sultry phone call from one of the female characters in the game. Let's take a listen.
This is Anna Williams, calling in on behalf of GameStop with some juicy news. Turns out your copy of Tekken Tag Tournament 2 is ready for pickup. Better run along to your nearest GameStop tomorrow morning to pick it up, or I might just swipe your copy for myself. And if you happen to have any old games lying around, put some of that business savvy to work and trade them in for 30% extra in-store credit when you purchase Tekken Tag Tournament 2. But if you really want to impress me, let's see how you handle a one-on-one fight. Or, to make it interesting, let's try 2-on-1. You game? Either way,
that's kind of cringy, but whatever.
Power to the player.
I mean, Ghostbusters, GameStop for the Ghostbusters game had, like, Dan Aykroyd, I think, doing that.
In this case, it's not just the publisher who's responsible for that embarrassing stunt. Bandai Namco partnered with GameStop to make absolutely sure everyone knew the Tekken franchise was designed with a very specific subset of straight male gamers in mind.
Okay.
An exclusive outfit called Sexy Robot Trip for the female sidekick
Enslaved, yeah, that hot game everyone loved.
Enslaved was given to players who purchased the game from Best Buy.
A hot game.
Oh, this is the place! Yes, indeed.
Pre-ordering Dead or Alive 5 from GameStop granted players access to a series of white swimsuits and bunny ears with which to dress up the game's female characters. Meanwhile, pre-ordering from Amazon unlocked black versions of these same getups. Occasionally, bonuses are included to encourage gamers to buy a full-priced retail version of a game instead of a less expensive used copy. Gamers who bought a new copy of EA's The Saboteur were given a ticket with a code for the Midnight Show. This special code did 2 things. First, it allowed access to a burlesque show in a cordoned-off area of the game space. Second, it removed clothing from all the female dancers in the game, making them all topless.
Oh, so like it showed burlesque dancers, like, okay, yeah, how dare they do that?
You are Sean. I have been waiting for you. Come.
I mean, has she gone to these shows? Is she not?
Take a seat. I can't wait to get started.
Now, of course, it's entirely possible for DLC costumes to avoid the women as reward trope. For example, Mass Effect 2 offered 2 alternative appearance packs that added new clothing and armor for your squad mates, which ended up actually providing less sexualized outfits for both Miranda and Jack that are more appropriate for the mission at hand. When discussing representations of sexualized women, the argument I hear most often is the old adage, sex sells. This boring excuse isn't even accurate. First, just because people will buy something doesn't...
It's not even accurate. Sex sells isn't even accurate. Okay. If you believe that.
automatically mean that that thing has value or isn't harmful. It's also not a guaranteed avenue to success.
Then why are you getting upset about it if it's not guaranteed? Whatever.
And more importantly, when it comes to the women as reward trope in gaming,
harmful.
We're not talking about actual sex. The ways women and women's bodies are turned into trophies for gamers to win or unlock has nothing whatsoever to do with acts of consensual human intimacy. So when people say sex sells, what they really mean is sexualization and objectification of women's bodies sell. Or more succinctly and more accurately, sexism sells.
Well, I don't agree with that part, but I agree that, you know, like, a picture of a half-naked girl or a girl in a bikini, like on screen, does make sense, but it's not sexism, because, you know, you have, like, superhero comics sell, all that shit. You know,
and why does sexism sell? Well, because it's not challenging dominant paradigms. It's simply
it's
reinforcing ideas
about
male privilege and entitlement to women's sexuality that are already entrenched in the cultural zeitgeist. When games offer hypersexualized DLC outfits for players to buy, publishers and developers are telling presumed straight male players, in not-so-subtle terms, yes, these women do indeed exist primarily as toys to fulfill your personal sexual fantasy.
But you have to pay money for that. Any rational person is thinking, like, I'm not gonna pay money for this. Fuck that. You got what you need. Like, who cares?
This is just one of the ways the women as reward trope works to perpetuate regressive ideas about gender. See our full episode for a detailed analysis on this topic.
Sure. Okay. Thanks for watching this video. As I said in multiple videos, I've been trying to diversify this channel a little bit more. So, there you go. There you go. I started talking about some other cuck and more Anita Sharkgirl. So there you go. See you next time, guys.